Hello. Good evening. Yes, indeedy. It is baseball season. I am currently watching the Dodgers and the Arizona Diamondbacks on NBC. I'm not going to the volume up because I don't have the copyright to, and I'm not going to tell you the score because I'm not allowed to do that. But it is baseball season. I used to be able to play the game. I was a baseball player, but it's one of my holidays. So that's what I've been doing all day. I've been sitting on my butt watching baseball. Ate a couple of chili dogs. Didn't drink any beer though because I had the show tonight. I didn't think Gwen would appreciate me trying to do a show after 7 or 8, 10 beers. Anyway, we got a special guest on tonight, but first we're going to talk about some people I know down in New Orleans that have a tour group. Yes, the New Orleans Paranormal Society. Voices from Beyond. Christopher Talley and Jennifer Talley. You throw the picture up, please. There is their address, phone number, and their information. If you're going on a tour this spring, this summer, look them up. They will not take you by a haunted house and say, this is haunted, this happened here. They won't take you inside and say, this room, this happened, but we got to go and spend 5 minutes inside the building. No. They would take you inside the building, put a piece of paranormal equipment in your hand, and put a ghost in front of you, and you can have your own little conversation, your own little paranormal experience right there. And get comfortable because you're going to be there for a bit. This is not a 5-minute experience. Just take a couple of hours. A couple of places they go to is behind a voodoo shop in the former slave quarters. Another place they go is the Andrew Jackson Hotel. And into the haunted closet that they use at the Andrew Jackson is exclusive that they have with them. It is right below the most haunted room, one of the most haunted rooms in the Andrew Jackson. Most of the rooms there are haunted. Trust me, I've investigated there several times. And you run into a different spirit almost every time I've gone there. It's a very haunted place. But they are going to have a little Paracon starting July 31st. Go ahead and play the New Orleans Paracon video. And that sign is correct. That music is Jazz Street by White Bones. I got it from Canva. It's one of their music things. And it is approved for commercial use. So all you people on all these videos and websites that want to scream about it, talk to Canva. They are allowed to give that out to their members, people who pay for Canva, and allowed to play it for commercial use. That was a nice little piece of jazz there. Of course, New Orleans has its share jazz. So go to NewOrleansParacon.com. A lot of packages are already sold out. Patty Negre, her experience. I think they have 10 more left or something like that. Packages with her. Some of those packages are sold out. The RIP has been sold out for a couple of weeks now. The package with Luciana in the house behind the old slave quarters behind the voodoo shop, that may be sold out very quickly. It has very few, I don't know the exact number, is very few packages with Letriana, our own very own Letriana, Terry Brown. There. That, of course, that will be live. All Access Network TV will be there, providing Gwen can find us some internet signal and hook us up. We'll be showing that. If you want to be there in person, July 31st, August 1st and 2nd in New Orleans at the New Orleans Paracon.com, where you get your tickets. And if you want to be sitting there with Latriana, get your package now because there's not that many left. But now we're going to introduce our host. He's an old friend of mine. We ghost hunted before several years ago in the Chicagoland area. Coming up is Greg Goss.
How you doing, Len?
All right, how you doing, Greg?
Is this better?
Well, it looks good to me.
Okay.
Don't have that blinding light like in the other room.
Well, that's where I just finally figured out how to run the light fixture.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Fancy.
These things are complicated now.
Yeah, they are. I finally figured it out. Good to see you.
Nice of you. You got the lighting perfect now. That's great.
Okay.
So
what's going
on? Today it's been all about baseball. You had one game last night, but today was opening day. Unfortunately, the Cubs got the pudding beat out of them. The White Sox got the pudding beat out of them. What else is new with the White Sox?
The Cubs were up 2-1 when I was driving come over
here. I think they had a pitcher come in there. Their starter, I think, in the third or fourth inning, gave up about 5 runs.
Oh God!
Yes. So they ended up getting beat, and the White Sox got beat by Milwaukee. So they're off to a bad start. Right now, the Dodgers, believe it or not, are getting beat 2-0 by Arizona, but it's still early.
Yeah, but they probably got real good weather out there, huh?
Well, the Mets game this morning or this noon, early this afternoon, they had absolutely perfect weather. And I'm looking out at Dodger Stadium right now, and it is perfect weather out there too. Wrigley, they were kind of cool, kind of cloudy, with a 30-mile-an-hour wind howling through there.
Yeah.
Of course, that's Wrigley Field for you.
Well, if they would have played it at about 9 o'clock this morning, it would have been like 65 degrees out here.
Mm-hmm.
Temperature dropped right at game time.
Oh wow! I guess that wind blew it in.
Yeah, so it went all the way down. I think it was in the 40s.
Woo! With 30-mile-an-hour wind blowing. Oh my gosh!
I don't know exactly. I didn't watch any of it or anything at towards the end. I just heard it on the radio actually.
Yeah, it's kind of tradition. Gail, she's got a younger brother, and he come up, of course, a Cubs fan and a White Sox fan. He was one of those rare people to pull for both teams. And I assumed that right because I was not born there, so I didn't give a rip about their north side, south side thing. So they're both Chicago teams I pulled for them. And I went to the stadium and saw their games and enjoyed myself. But today was a cool opening day. Of course, Milwaukee was about the same way. It's kind of cool, kind of windy. But the first game televised was, of course, the Mets. Beautiful, stunning weather in New York. And, of course, they have beautiful weather in Los Angeles right now.
Yeah, that's about we were going pretty good here, and then the bottom dropped out for a day or two. So,
we here, absolutely beautiful day. I think we hit a high of 84.
That's amazing. I wish I had it.
And now we're dropping off a little bit tomorrow. It's going to be a little bit cooler tomorrow. I think the high is going to be in the 70s. But through next week, that's what the high is going to be.
What?
Mid 70s.
70s? Oh, that's good.
Maybe I can get a little bit more painting done. I'm hoping we can get out there tomorrow.
Are you an artist now?
Painting the house.
Yeah,
Well,
I know. That's,
actually staining.
in the military, they called for artists.
Okay.
And guys would raise their hands, say, I'm an artist. The next thing they were doing floors and walls and.
Of course, I guess you have your artists, the people who feed you, and the trigger pullers.
Yeah.
You know what the trigger pullers do?
Yeah.
They shoot at folks.
Yeah.
So, you been doing anything paranormal lately?
We went to the Obscuricon in DeKalb, Illinois, that was run by Willie Atkins, and that was over this last weekend. And we went there for a day on Saturday. Had a lot of fun. Got to see a lot of friends, and that kind of thing. Larry Eisler was. I had him come on my Wednesday show last night. I asked him if he would join us for some ITC, and he came on last night. And we had a real good show. We only had 2 double Estes, so it worked out really fine, and he enjoyed himself. He has those Delco goggles that he wears.
Right.
I have a pair. Carol Garcia has a pair, and we use those pretty much. But is that Christy?
Yep.
Hey, Christy. She
Good on,
watches.
Nate.
She's a good lady.
Yes.
Awesome. And I got to see quite a few other people. I spent a lot of time with Chris Fleming, and I had to catch up with him because I hadn't talked to him for quite some time. And we had a great talk. And I used to skate with his dad. His dad played for the Blackhawks. And when I was a peewee, I was like 10 years old, and I was playing peewee hockey back then. And my dad knew the coach, Rudy Pillis, at that particular time. So we got to do warm-ups with him on Sundays. So I got to skate with all the Hawks, and it was just amazing. All those old guys. And now I'm an old guy. It was a lot of, I always have memories of that, of the different guys and things that they did with me and how they screwed around all the time. And, some of them would smack you in the butt with their hockey stick, when you're skating around and stuff, and passing the puck to you and letting you shoot at people like Len Hall and, Hall of Fame players. So it was a lot of fun. And that was about it. I'm going to try to do something in June. Uh, I can't remember what it is. I think it's got to do with going down to Southern Illinois, Detroit Taylor's area. So we'll wait and see what happens there. I have just probably maybe two real good investigations, and I haven't talked to the people that I go with. So I'd like to go back out to Iowa, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen until later in the year. So the reason I'm here is because my son from here, he's up in Steamboat for the last snow they got, and my other one's down in Disney World. So all my boys and my grandkids from around here, that are close to me are all out of town right now. So
Yeah, Orlando is a little bit out of town from there.
yeah, yeah, they go there quite a bit. That's my middle son, Josh, and he has a beautiful daughter and a great son. And his daughter is she's a flag football player, and she's been a gymnast since she's been 4. So she plays for the high school. Junior's not there yet. Logan's got another 2 years before he makes high school. So, but he's cutting his own path. That's all that matters.
Is he into hockey?
No, none of them are.
Okay.
None of them. And you know what? It's probably the best thing happening because I got beat. I got the heck beat out of me a lot. I uh, I was in the hospital. I took a puck to the temple because when we played, we didn't have helmets. They were just coming in with helmets, and I was playing ended up playing in the senior men division. By the time, and that time we did have helmets, but then if you got in a fight with somebody, all they do is they cover up like a turtle, and you kept on hitting them in the head, and you're just beating the hell out of your knuckles. So that wasn't any fun. And now I'm too old to skate. So
I never ice skated, but of course down in Georgia, the most ice I ever saw was in an ice cream machine.
oh boy, I'll tell you. Yep. But you know what? Think of the time, and I wanted to tell you. Guess who I ran into at ObscureCon?
Who's that?
Dale.
Really? Did y'all
Yeah,
talk?
yeah. I talked a little bit with him.
Okay.
Said hi. He's lost some weight. Looks
That's
good.
scary. Unless he got fat without me knowing it.
Oh, always had a. He looked like he ate well. Okay,
Okay. Yeah.
but so he was. It was a little added. Uh, how could you say thrill to see him? So,
That was
but
Willie Atkins' place, wasn't it?
yeah,
Yeah. Willie Atkins was a good guy.
he
He's the one who directed me when I was in the rock video.
okay.
In fact, that video was made by him.
Yeah, he's fine. He's doing good. I'm going to have him on the show a little bit here. Probably in June. I have a lot of people that I have coming up, and I'm already filled for May. So I've got one more. I think I have one more for the end of the month here for April, and you got a lot of good people coming on, and I uh, I I want to have Chris is hopefully he's going to come on. I didn't even see if he answered yet because he is an amazing man. I don't know if you spent any time with him, but he's really something.
Who is this now?
Christopher Fleming.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I spent a little bit of time with him. We spoke a little bit. I heard one of his presentations. He probably doesn't remember me at all, but we've at least it's been several years though. We were released at the same place at the same time, and I asked him a couple of questions. He answered them.
Yeah, his dad. I was working at the post office in Rolling Meadows, which is a suburb up northwest side, by Arlington Heights, and his dad was working at a bank, maybe as one of those, what's the word for it, where they're just like there to greet people and things like that. And I don't know what else he did there, but I saw him. He came out and he went over to get a hot dog from a hot dog stand, and I spotted him, and I went, "Holy crap! It's Reggie Fleming." And then he said, I said to him, I said, "You probably don't remember me from the games at the old stadium and the warm-ups on Sundays, because back then at that same particular time, uh, who was it? Bobby Hull had his two sons out on the ice, and they were both like two, and the skates were almost as big as they were, and they were skating around like crazy.
Hmm.
So it was interesting. There's a lot of things like that that have happened that I think that's why I'm really attracted to the other side now, because there's a lot of people that oh, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to be able to look at your messages, Gwen. She said she sent me a message, but we've had a lot of fun. I know that, the shows that I have been really, really good, and I'm very grateful to Supernatural Inc. and the Staffords for giving me pretty much free reign on my shows, and they're always like, for instance, now that I'm not really at home right now. For me to go home and do a show, I can't do it at 9 o'clock. So this week my shows are at 7:30. So the one last night was at 7:30, and then one Friday night, which is Mariner Spirit, that one's going to be at 7:32, and I'll have Jenny Davis on that one.
Okay, cool.
I've never had Jenny on, for all the time I've known her, and she's starting to do a fantastic job, and now she's got into the sort of running a Paracon, and she did that with Wooly. So she was like a whatever you want to call them, for that Paracon, and she did an awesome job. I was really amazed. And there's so many other people that I know from around where at the northwest suburbs, and all the way up to the border, Wisconsin border, and even in Wisconsin. They're all great people. So you have a lot of fun with them, even
Yeah,
though,
Jeremy Burton says Jenny is great.
yeah.
Christy, she says she liked ice hockey, pulled for the Blackhawks, even though she's, of course, living in Australia. Christy also says, agreed, such a beautiful human being. And Jeremy Bunton, I had her on my show promoting the Paracon earlier this month.
Oh, wow.
Jeremy
Cool.
Brunton.
So that was for which Paracon, though?
Which Paracon was that, Jeremy?
He's probably like, I've been trying to get out to Missouri and over by Kansas City just to get with the Staffords, since I work with them and that. And now that Kate, which one?
Obscacon?
Uh,
OBSCACON?
No, that was probably Obscuricon.
Obscuricon. Okay.
That was the one that I was at in DeKalb this last weekend. You remember Mike Wright?
I've known several Mike Wrights over the years.
The tall guy in the Paranormal. He was with Dale's group with me.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, him and I went there, and we met Kathy Pera and her sister Marge, and we had a good day.
And Kristen said Jeremy is phenomenal. One of my best mates on Facebook.
That's great.
So we got a whole lot of people in the chat room that just get along with each other.
Yeah, well, that's the way it should be all the time, you know.
Yeah, everybody's kind of getting to be internet friends, and I look forward to meeting as many as I can at the various cons. Even though this year I'm only going to one, and probably next year too, because as we were talking earlier off camera, I'm on a slow build up of the house. We're not borrowing money to build it. We're just doing it as we can, and we're just it's a slow build. It's not like I got a crew. It's not like I got a crew in here.
Well, I did the same thing at my house, so I had a guy that went ahead and was like my not really architect, but he was the guy that knew all the different ands and ifs, and he would tell me what to do, and then I would do it.
Well,
You know,
I've got a carpenter helping me.
yeah. Well, I did. We framed the whole thing up, framed the whole entire back. Took the whole back of the house out 20 feet, poured the concrete, did the garage. It was great. I would do it again in a heartbeat if my limbs would hold out.
Mm-hmm. Christy says true friendships are hard to find and make. Those have a connection with us forever.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, he's doing most of the building, and I'm basically designing the whole thing.
Well, that's good.
The room over here behind me, behind Booze, over this way. This is where I'm pointing. Off camera here. The Booze is over here, and it's a 10 by 14, 15-foot long workroom.
Oh, wow.
I got a 8-foot by 4-foot work table in there. And then I put a 16 and a half inch workbench around the opposite wall and took at the end wall, went from the 16-inch shelf all the way to the table with more 16-inch shelving.
Wow.
It'd be crowded with two people, but there's only one of me. So I can just sit there and just we'll take a few steps, walk up and down, use a miter saw, use the vise, and that's on the table. And then anything I want to work on the shelves, I can either stand there or sit on a stool.
I'm really limited now with VA and everything, and the diagnosis and everything that I had over the last year and a half. So it sort of cut me back on some of the things that I do. But I'm going back out on the water. I'm taking my rig out and go chase muskies.
Well, you notice in the banner I made for you, you had fishing theme on there.
I saw that. That was nice. Thank you.
Yeah, I thought it was appropriate, so you're most welcome.
It's something that when I was a real little kid, I had a great uncle that not only took me into that, but that was about the same time that we were out in Gettysburg, and this the proverbial, you know what, hit the fan out there when we were there at the first stop, and that was the most exciting thing that's, you know, when I was young that ever happened. I still don't believe that we actually heard all these sounds and everything. It was just crazy. We were at I want to say we were at Reynolds Woods. From what I found out after the next two times I was out there, I was trying to piece it together because I was so young when it happened that I didn't understand that. And then when we went out there, it finally, the bell rang, and that was with Dale and everybody, and Chuck Williams. And Chuck's a real close friend of mine too. He's the documentarian. So, he's the one that's done all those documentaries, and I've had the very good fortune of going ahead and working with him on them and I actually have, no, Lenny, I actually have credits, or I have my name mentioned on the DVD
Oh, wow.
of the people that helped him. And his new one that's going to be coming out pretty soon is called Diana the Dunes. And that's the lady that was a businesswoman in downtown Chicago working in the corporate world, and she just ended up walking out, and she went over to Gary, Indiana, and ended up over she made a shack and lived at the Indiana Dunes.
Aha.
I think you probably heard of her before, I bet. And she ended up dying after about, I think she was out there a total of about 12 years.
Oh,
But
wow.
we went ahead and we did a big investigation out there about her, and we did about 3 of them. And we'd go ahead and we'd go in certain sections and do EVP work and Estes and stuff like that. And it's going to be another great one. He did the circus train crash of 1917 or 18, and we worked in Gary, and we worked on the anniversary, and I want to say maybe it was, because this is 2026 now. It could have been 17 or
Mm-hmm.
18 maybe. But anyway, that's what happened was one of the big circus trains was going out of Illinois and was going down into Indiana, and one of their big wheels on their cars, and all those trains back then were all constructed out of wood,
Right.
except for the wheels, and they had to pull off on a side rail in Gary because one of their wheels was gold. It was bright. It was burning up, reddish gold or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
So they pull it off the
Almost,
side.
almost white hot.
Yeah. So it's there was like there were 3 cars that were left on the main line. So the conductors and everything else had gone down the line in case somebody would come along so they could stop them. Well, there was a troop train that was coming south, and it was totally unloaded. The only thing that was there was the engineer, and he had fallen asleep,
Mm-hmm.
and he plowed right into the back end of that train, and everything went on fire. And they had all the circus performers, they had the animals and everything in the last 4 cars of this train, and then they had all the equipment for the tents and everything in front of it. But they lost a whole bunch of people, and it's a very sad story for carnival people, because there's people that were buried that really didn't have a name.
Mm.
They knew them as Smiley or whatever, whatever their nickname was, or the character name that they used at the circus. So those are all buried at it's called Showman's Rest, and it's across the road from Brookfield Zoo. There's a cemetery over there. And Brookfield Zoo, you know where Brookfield Zoo was, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so they buried a whole bunch of people there. There was something to do with somebody went ahead and donated all the space for them, and I want to say that they even buried some elephants there.
I've always heard that they did.
Okay. But and we were across the street from there, and we were trying to figure out. There was a rumor that you could hear certain sounds from the animals. You could hear. I want to say it was either lions or elephants, one of the two. You could hear them, in the middle of the night, and we went ahead and we did a whole bunch of EVP work and that in one of those. It was a forest preserve rust area right on the outside of Brookfield Zoo, across the street from the cemetery. So it was pretty neat. We were there all night, and that was one of the last parts of what we did. We actually did were the on the anniversary. It was the anniversary of the train crash, and we were on the tracks, and we had a tent set up off the tracks. Sorry about that. He's making noise up there. Uh, Kaiser is it. We went ahead and we did a lot of EVP work on the tracks, and then right at the time of the anniversary, what happened was they had a train come through, and he was dinging his bell, going real super slow right at the time that the crash occurred, which was
Ooh.
like 3 something in the morning, I think. 2:30, 3 o'clock. So we all got to see that. And we're in a monsoon too at the same time. So it was all crazy. The next day they did a big presentation for the city of Gary from the Circus Association and things like that. And we were all part of that. And it's been amazing. The first one he did, of course, was Bachelor's Grove, and he did that one, and that was oh, I can't even think of the name right now. It's getting by me, but he did one on the Madonna of Bachelor's Grove,
Amelia.
and that was one of the sisters that took the picture.
Judy
She,
Huff.
Judy, and both of the girls still work with Dale, so that's pretty cool.
Yes.
And we had a whole big thing where we had Bachelor's Grove all to ourselves, and it was the second time that Cook County went ahead and gave a permit out for being over there in the cemetery after dark. And the first time was Ghost Adventures. So I don't even remember them being filmed out there or anything like that. I don't remember that show, but we were out there and we had 3 groups. We had Chuck had a girl dressed up as the Madonna, and she would go back and sit on that stone, and just to try to go ahead and trigger things. And we went ahead and we had 3 groups, and we had 3 absolute regular TV cameramen that would follow us around on our investigation. And we did the first one, which was a pre investigation. So we had maps. So every tombstone that we hit, if anything happened, that would be recorded. So then they took all 3 groups and they took all 3 of those maps. Dale did and Chuck did, and they put them together, and they took the hottest spots, and that's what we filmed for the video. So it was really a great night. I learned a lot. The only thing that I had saw was on the big one was the Slender Man in the corner of the fence line down there. It was just nothing but a huge black shadow, and it appeared to have a hat on.
Yes.
And it was like, holy crap.
That is the theory behind that from various people was he was the last caretaker of the cemetery.
So he had a name.
Who is actually buried in that cemetery and was the last burial. It was in his will to be buried in Baxter's Grove.
That was really cool.
And sometimes he appears as a shadow overlooking the cemetery if you're in there.
And
make sure you're not up to any mischief.
We didn't run into that house back there when you leave the cemetery and you go back by that creek back there.
Right.
Way back in the woods back there. There's a house that appears.
Right.
And then
if you walk toward it, it recedes from you.
Right. I've never seen it.
I have never seen it either. I've spent a lot of hours there. I've never seen that house.
But it's a pretty interesting location. When we first got there, we were all we had tables set up, and Chuck had all these different things all lined up as far as food and things like that, and they were getting Madonna all dressed up, and we were there, and this woman runs by us like a track star, and she runs back towards the cemetery, and we thought, what the heck? And she runs in there, and about 15 minutes later, she comes running back, and she's got like a sage stick. And it's lit up, and she's going over the top of her head and between her legs. And I thought, wow. But, they're that whole time was really, really something. I know.
Oh, do you know a Nancy Noonan Kelly?
Yes, I do know Nancy.
She says hello, hey to me, and calls you Greg buddy.
Yeah, she's from up in Minnesota there, She's a good girl. She's a great lady. She's been around for a long time.
Oh, Gwen, are you still around? You're putting the names up there. See if Gwen could do me a favor. Gwen.
Yes.
I'm going to post my intro back.
Okay.
I got it down there. Can you stop that video from playing at a given time?
Yeah.
Okay. When the lady on the stone comes up.
Was she sitting there?
Yeah. Pause it.
I can't pause it. I can take
it down. Pause it. Huh?
No, it won't let me pause it.
Okay. Well, go ahead and run it, and we at least see it for a few seconds.
Okay. So you want? All right. Here we go.
I don't know who came up with this creepy door.
God, you got to grease your hinges there, buddy.
Yeah. Need some WD-40.
Yeah.
But you'll actually see in this video
her image.
Yes. Right next to Amelia Humphreys. There she is there.
Right there. That's her.
That's her. And there's Amelia's picture here.
And that was done by Judy Huff. She took the picture.
Right.
And nobody could dispute it. But the other thing that I wanted to mention about that investigation was in the beginning that I've never been on a actual big filmed investigation like this. And do you know Bishop Rake?
I've heard of him. I don't know him.
No, it's a lady. That's Reverend Christina Rake.
Okay.
Yes, Reverend Christina Rake from the Old Catholic Church.
Okay.
And she's a real close friend of mine and Chuck's. And she was a friend of Chuck Kennedy's. And we used to go out and see both of them quite a bit. And I used to go to Chuck because of the psychic mediumship end of it, and a lot of things to do with your gifts and things that happened to you. And he was the great man. He ran the group of psychics that did all the human trafficking. And when the last time that we had the Chicago Paracon, and it was at the Holiday Inn, I can't remember. It was out west, and that was the last. I saw him after that, of course, at his house. But him and Reverend Christina, and Bishop Rake is an amazing lady, and she does an amazing job, and she's a very devout. She believes in God, and she's a very devout, not Catholic, old Catholic. And the things that happened that night at that investigation, when we all came in, and she wanted everybody to circle around, and we were going to say some prayers for protection, and she handed every one of us the Saint Benedict medal that she had blessed, and it was for our protection. And I wore through mine already on the chain, and I have another one, and I've got all my medals from Reverend Christina or Bishop Rake, and it's helped me tremendously to have a person of such faith available for me if I have any issues or questions. And she's extremely hard to get hold of, and I have a regular rapport with her, and I love her to death. She's an amazing clergy person, and she's done a great job with the church. And that's the old Catholic, not the Catholic religion. It's the old Catholic. So that goes way back in history to the point where they broke off. It was about the same time that Martin Luther broke off too. But the old Catholics were a little different. But she does investigations. She works with the Booth brothers. She does movies. She does everything. And I love her to death. She's got a great family. I can't say enough about her, really. And I didn't mean to overkill it, but it's one of those things I'll never forget is when we were standing all around there and she was doing the prayers, and we had these medals, and I had it in my hand, and I had my fist like that, and I could actually feel the energy, and it was really amazing. And that's the way that whole night went. And that's happened to me quite a few times since then on different locations. Poasttown Elementary, Mansfield, uh, the Rose Hotel is one of my favorites. I think we've been there now about 5 times. Robin Terry always had his Haunted Hour theater event every year, and we used to go there, and it was the first thing in January that happened in the paranormal, and we used to go drive all the way down to Robin Terry's place, and it was in January. And the same thing with his place. It had its own vibe.
Oh, Jeremy says he loves Poasttown Elementary.
Yeah, Poasttown was. I had a little kid that grabbed me by my 2 last fingers and walked down the hallway with me, and it was surreal. That's where I caught my first real film capture, and it was a doll that I had set up on a plastic chair They had a doll room in the school, and I went in and grabbed the prettiest doll I could find. And the little kids' chairs, that they had for the classroom, they were those plastic ones. And I had what was it? Eddie machine, ETI plus, and it had a rubber case on it, and I had it sitting on the chair, and I had the machine running, and it was sitting in front of the doll, and I just turned my film camera on and recorded it for like an hour or something, and it didn't nothing looked different to me. But when I got home and I started to play it back, what happened was where the machine was in respect to where this doll's foot was. The only thing you could see on the one end is you could see the end of her toes of her one foot. And as I started playing, I said, I can't watch this whole damn thing. It was almost 2 hours long, so I would skip it a little bit, right?
Right.
And then all of a sudden, there was more than her toes. Then I could see her whole foot and then part of her leg. And I'm looking at the time on this, so I'm writing these times down. So I went ahead and recorded the spirit of these kids were trying to get to the doll, but the machine was in their way. So they were trying to push the machine out of their way. And with the rubber case, it was really hard to push. So it wasn't really fast. So when the machine did, finally at the end of it, I went ahead and looked and I went, holy crap. This, I really got something here. And I went ahead and I broke it down, and I have it, and I have it on my computer, and it was really a nice capture.
Cool.
And the other one was at Old South Pittsburgh, and it's the nurse, and I have a full body apparition, and I just got one from when I showed it to a few people at Obscura, and it was taken by a friend of mine off one of his motion detector cameras, off his house.
Right.
And it's down in a town south of here. And I know him because he works up right around here for a township. And he sent it to me. He says, hey, check this out and tell me what you think. And I asked him, I said, is it okay with you if I share it with a few people? Because I'm going to this event. And he says, no. He says, that would be great to find out. It appears to be either a Native American or a trapper that would have like a hood up. And it's a still image, but it's eerie.
Hmm.
And that just happened last week
Oh, wow.
before I went to Obscuricon.
Wow.
And stuff like that carry me when and I know there's a lot of people, and these are like, I've been working at this for a long time, and I think that's like the fourth one. And I did not take that one. All the other stuff that I have is all my own that I captured myself. And it's funny that I would go from camera work and still pictures to ITC and Estes methods. But I got attracted to that pretty early, and I found, I really have a curiosity about how they respond to the questions. And the way I have it set up for my show on Wednesdays is I have people all across the country. So they go all the way from Texas all the way up the East Coast. And I work with a group of 6 or 7, and then I have how could you say, guests that come on, like Larry came on, because Larry does ITC too. And it's amazing the responses you get on a double Estes and over the distance too. So I mean, it's not like I'm sitting here with you in the same room and we have headphones on and we have spirit boxes and we're listening to some spirit that's in the room here. A lot of the responses come all the way across that cable,
Mm-hmm.
which is mind-boggling.
Yes.
And
The spirit can travel themselves and definitely send their voice over the internet. It's amazing.
so
When you finish, can you explain a little bit how the Estes is done for the people who don't know
sure,
how you do it?
if you have a spirit box, it's just like an SB7. A lot of the times what happened, number one, I'll go back in a little history. The Estes method was developed by 2 gentlemen, or actually a group of 4, 1 girl and 3 guys. 2 of the guys were Connor Randall and Carl Pfeiffer. Those were the same 2 gentlemen that were involved in the series Hellier, Greg and Dana Newkirk.
Mm-hmm.
And they went ahead and they were doing just EVP sessions. And Connor had a pair of soundproof headphones, what is it? Music headphones,
Mm-hmm.
drummer's headphones, excuse me.
Okay.
And he had them on. He said they decided that they were going to do a little experiment, and he put them on, and they started asking him questions. And he had blinders on too. So you got headphones, you got blinders, and then you got the spirit box. So you're listening to the spirit box through the headphones, and whatever full words you hear, you go ahead and say. And we started out with they did this, and then it came to the point where they did that series, and I had already looked back at this because it looked to me like something that really needed to be addressed in the community. And I know there's a lot of people that you'll see them do it at an investigation where there's a whole group of people and they'll have 2 people up on the stage and they'll do it. I've done it quite a few times that way, and I've done it at some Paracons now, just to show people how it's done. What you just said is very important because the equipment is pretty much essential for the way you get the results. So you have to have, they say, noise canceling headphones or drummer's headphones are the best because there's no chance to catch anything from anybody. The only thing you hear, and that's sight and sound deprivation. So you have the blinders on. Now they have those Delco goggles like Larry has. We have them too, and they blink the red. So you're almost at a combination of not only the Estes method, but I can't think of the name of the other one, where it would just be the light. And I'm sorry, I'm having a brain fart.
I don't remember the name of that either.
But it's
You talking about a REM pod?
no. I'm just talking about the name that's used
Okay.
for when you use the Delco glasses.
Okay. I'm not sure of that. I forgot.
Way before that, what they would do is they would have those glasses, and back in the day, it's gonna kill me if I don't get it. But they used to use a pair of blinders, and what they would do is they would cut out the center of them, and they would put half of a ping pong ball there that they had used a red marker on. So it's red light, and red light is supposed to accelerate the deprivation. Oh, that's going to kill me. I can't think of it. But anyway, what was going on with this is they had gone ahead and done quite a bit of work. I went ahead and started to work with it. And one year we went around, and Mike Wright was my partner, and we did a lot of this Estes work at different locations, all the way from Kansas. We were at the school that's in the southwest corner of Iowa, I want to say, right close to the Sally House. We did it there, and he freaked out. It was crazy. We were on these things, and what was happening to us was, you had the white noise that comes through, and you're listening to the white noise, and we're getting this ticking. And I've told this before, basically to guys in the ITC community, a lot of the guys that, the Rathmans, the Yakovadis, Austin Maynard, people like that, Katie Stafford. These are ITC guys. And they were doing a round table. I know I'm jumping a little bit, but they were doing a round table. And in this round table, I went ahead and posted this question. And I says, this is what's happening to us, that we're picking up above the white noise besides when we hear words, but it's a ticking. And at first I thought maybe it was Morse code, but it wasn't Morse code. So I put this post in there and explained what was happening and asked them what they thought. Is this some sort of alien type communication? And two of them started to laugh, and they looked at each other and they said, isn't that what Frank Sumption was all about? Now, you know who Frank Sumption is, right?
I've heard the name.
He's the one that he made the Frank's box.
Okay, yeah,
And
that one.
if you went back to the early Popular Mechanics or Popular Science magazines, back when I was young, inside the cover, or they had an advertisement, a one-page advertisement that says, speak to Martians or speak to aliens. And it showed like Radio Shack. You could go ahead and put this box together and you could communicate with aliens, talk to them. And I remember that happened a long, long time ago. So I asked them that question, and that was the answer they gave me was, isn't that what Frank Sumption was about? And he had a Frank's box, and he was called by the spirits that were talking to him through his box. They called him, his name was the Purple Princess. And if you get an opportunity, and anybody who's interested in this that's in the room right now, you would have to go ahead and read the book on Frank Sumption. And it's mind-boggling. And they actually told him it was time, they were coming to get him. And he actually took him. His physical body was still there, but they actually took him.
Oh, wow.
And this actually happened. This is in the book, in his book.
Do you know the name of the book?
I thought it was Frank Sumption, but it's not. It's another brain fart, my friend. It's something that people can look up, but it's the story of Frank Sumption.
Okay.
And it's some amazing literature, and it caught me, and just it was like getting that big hook in the corner of your mouth and getting set on. You ain't going anywhere else.
It just reels you in.
And just reeled me right in. And that's where my EVPs, basically just basic EVP work, my a lot of my camera work had to sit and wait, because I had found a way, I thought at the time, because I had already gone into my spirituality. So I was working on my mediumship with Scotty Rourke, and he's my mentor. And I was trying to come up with a way, and I had my guides. I had 3 guides, and I was trying to find a way to communicate with them. And this all, like, the big light went off, okay? And I was so excited. I was like a little kid in a candy store. It was like, holy crap, I I may be able to talk to my guides through a box, and not mentally, through a box. And it was like, to me, like a shortcut. So my whole journey of my spirituality was going like this, and all of a sudden I took a detour, or I branched off on a side road, and that's where I still am today. And there's a lot of people in the family that think that I too have gone off the deep end as far as this is concerned. But I'll tell you what, there's a lot of answers that come through on spirit work, especially with ITC, and it's something that is in my heart now. And it's the same thing as the paranormal community. I just wish it would have been 20 years earlier.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
you know what I mean? It's some of that stuff that happens to you that, man alive, it's just wonderful. And I had my down days. We all have our down days, but I mean, if it wasn't for my mediumship and the work that I was able to do with Scotty, and understanding everything that's involved in that, and working with Psychics Unite, which I have on Mondays. So Scotty has the big group. There's like 5 groups of Psychics Unite: Ohio, Indiana, uh, Wisconsin, and he has the big group in Madison, Wisconsin. And he does a great job there. And he needed a group to cover the over by where I am, and he asked me to go ahead and run it for him. And I've been running it, I don't know, maybe 3 years now. And I have a group of people that anybody's welcome to come. And it's a bunch of people that are all psychic mediums, and they do great things. I consider myself to still be a medium. I'm not a large, okay? And I just threw that in there to throw you off. I'm just seeing if you're paying attention.
Oh, yeah, I'm paying attention.
But that's what it's about. We're in this for the long haul. And if we could help other people understand things about the paranormal, and every time I run into somebody that asks a question like that pertaining to whether it's their spirituality, or it's about spirits, it's about a haunted location or anything like that, if you give them the right answers, not that you do all the time, but if you do give them the right answer, they light up. You can see them light up.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the part that I love the most.
Yeah, you explained the Estes method very well. What I'd like to do here is show a short video that may bring back some Baxter's Grove memories of you for you.
Uh-oh.
Can you go ahead and play the video mark file 0361 dark move? There you go. Okay. Oh, whoop,
Unless
wrong
video
one.
here.
Never mind. Take that back down. I don't know. Let it play. This that was another cemetery that I did. That is a cemetery. It's about a quarter the size of Baxter's Grove. Now, Baxter's Grove is only 1 acre.
Yes.
For anybody who doesn't know, they sometimes get shocked at the size of it. But there is still over 200 people buried in that cemetery.
I have something that I saw.
Okay.
We had the Paracon down there at the Willowbrook Ballroom that year.
Right.
And at the end of that, there were a bunch of people that went over to Bachelor's Grove. And I'm trying to think who was in that. Anyway, they were doing, there were a couple ladies from Florida, Terry Rhodey and her she had her partner in the paranormal. I can't think of her name right now. But anyway, they had like 8-9 people. And they were holding hands and they were saying a prayer. And they on the phone, they called a psychic medium from down in Florida whose name is George Lopez.
Okay.
And George Lopez works with a gentleman up on the East Coast, and they have a podcast. Ken, I can't think of his last name, but anyway, they were going to do that, and she said, "Call George." So they called George, and they gave George the background and showed him where they were at and everything, and then he said, "Okay, everybody, grab your hand, hold hands, close your eyes." And everybody closed their eyes, and he was saying like a prayer, and he got done, and he says, "Now everybody drop your hands, keep your eyes shut, and at the count of 3, I want you to point in the direction of the black figure." And all of a sudden, 1, 2, 3, and everybody out of that whole group pointed to that corner of that fence back there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where the old fence came and the new fence started.
Right.
It would be in the north. It would be the northwest corner, I believe. If I'm saying that cemetery runs north and south and east and west.
Right. I believe it does.
And everybody pointed at it. And I thought, holy crap.
Well,
But
I usually say get the gate side or the pond side, or when you walk in the gate, right or left.
okay, the gate and the pond to me would be east and west. And where you first come down the road, that is the north end. And then the other end going down towards the creek is the south side. To me.
Right. To me, the right, like you say, is that's what I call the path side or the right side. And the other side is either the left side or the pond side. I mean, the creek side.
Have you ever heard any of the stories about the pond?
Oh yeah. The farmer and the horse being drawn in there. But that's kind of negated by the research because it's only with the cutoffs that are built into the pond where the water can flow out of it.
Yeah.
It can't quite get 6 feet deep at the most after a hard rain. And it does drop without a rain, it drops down to about 4 feet. The average is about 5 feet and a few inches.
So you wouldn't find any bodies in there.
People have walked across it. They've used submersibles in there. And they hadn't, They found a couple of headstones where people probably, when they exhumed all the bodies in the late 80s,
Yeah.
they rather than taking the headstone of their family member with them, they just threw it in the pond so nobody to steal it.
How many bodies are left there now?
Over 200, about 240, 250, somewhere on there.
Okay.
Believe whatever your number you want to. Pick a number between 2 and 3, and you're probably right. There was also about 250 bodies exhumed. So only about half the bodies that were ever there are still there, which is an incredible number of people buried.
Yes.
In 1 acre.
How about the little kid? Is it a little girl, I think? Or a little boy?
On the big headstone?
Yes.
That is unknown. They don't know if there was a child actually buried there or not, or whether the headstone just said child or a boy or whatever. I don't remember exactly what it says. And people leave toys there all the time, and there may not even be a child buried there. That whole plot goes back toward the gate several yards. That's the largest plot in Bachelor's Grove.
Wow.
And there's several family members still buried there, but it is unknown, and there's no record of a child being buried there.
They never had any fencing to divide it, like some of the cemeteries we've been in.
No, most of the fencing, the ones that had fences, that had the stones all the way around, you can see the remnants. The fencing's all been ripped down. You got a Civil War vet. Now he died, I think, in the 1890s of old age, but he's buried there in the back, the pond side.
Okay.
But kind of to the right of the big tall headstone.
Yeah.
Right up against the fence, and you can see the remains of where it's still lined with stone, and you got the remains of where his iron fence was. I don't know if it really just got rusted so bad, because we're talking 1890s. So we're not talking well over 100 years old now when he was buried. Had rusted so bad they hauled it off, or where somebody just piece by piece stole the fencing. But there's 2 or 3 graves that were obviously fenced off, and the fencing's gone. Now, the one you're asking about, the big one, I've seen no evidence of it being fenced off. It may have been originally, and all the evidence is just gone.
That's a shame.
It is.
You know what happened there over the years with these cults and everything else that came through there? And
it was local people. The local high school, they had kind of a hazing thing that when you were about to graduate,
you had to
go there and kick over a headstone and spend some time at night in there.
Well, they're probably paying for it today.
Yeah, I think that several of them end up doing it. It was also a lover's lane where people go in there and take their high school sweetheart and do the wild thing there in the cemetery.
Oh, good.
They had to, the guys, to prove their macho, had to go in there and sit on some of the stones at night and swear at the people there. That would seem to be a popular thing. Now, you can't get me, just taunting them. And that's why the spirits there got hostile at night. And the daytime spirits just said, poof, they were gone. They'd be there during the day, like Amelia, the lady on the stone. She was only seen there during the day. She doesn't come there at night because she would come there every day, pick up a child's spirit that is still buried there. Libby May is still buried in that cemetery. And Amelia would come through there every night and pick up Libby May's spirit and go, just to keep away from the hostile nighttime people and spirits. Some of the rangers there, they don't believe what's been drug in there. And they said they don't like to come in there at night because they've caught people with a gun, some people with machetes. back there, and other kinds of weapons. There's several times people have been seen walking back there, spray paint in their hands.
Wow.
It's amazing what the cemetery went through, but I think the local high school finally grew out of it. You know, the XYZ generation, they kind of slowed down going down there, and about 10 years ago, I think they kind of faded away, kicking over the stones. Plus, the Forest Preserve cops were keeping a better eye on it and not letting them park across the street, giving them tickets, and not letting the locals walk in there.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it went through a lot.
Yeah.
And by the way, you're talking about Dale. Dale, after I left Chicago area, did confirm. He said he contacted the spirit that was on the stone.
Oh, really?
Mary Patrick Humphrey, and the spirit did confirm that they are one and the same.
Okay.
That it was Amelia Patrick Humphrey, and I was not there. I was already moved down here when he did that. He just told me that he did get it confirmed by Ghostbox. Yeah, I believe he uses an SP7 or SP11. Depending on what he's got in his hand. And he did get that confirmed.
I worked with him. The last time I worked with him was an event that was called Hunt the Town, and it was in Antioch, Illinois. And it was a whole bunch of people from all over the place. And we had the whole downtown section of the town, all the different shops.
Oh, wow.
And there was like 500 people there.
Oh, wow.
And we were in one building that was like a joke store. It was, where you get all those joke type buzzer things and all that kind of crap, and costumes and all that stuff. And him and I worked in the one section, and then it was Simons and his old partner, the guy from that 48 Hours or whatever they did, where they stayed in that place. I don't know why I can't think of his name. But we were there. We did that event. That was pretty cool because we were in the. Anytime you get an opportunity legally to go into a lodge or an Odd Fellows Club or anything like that, that's always very, very interesting as far as the paranormal is concerned.
But it's funny about the lodges. What I think
Masonic.
the Masonic or an Odd Fellows or any kind of lodge like the Moose Lodge.
Yes.
I think what happens is a lot of the people who have passed on, former members, their membership, of course, is still good. It's supposed to be good for life when you join those things. And they still come to meetings at the lodge. Yeah. Regardless of what group you're talking about. They came to so many meetings at this lodge. They still come there to talk with each other. That's my theory.
Yep. That's exactly what it is.
That's my theory that just so happens to fit the facts. That almost all of those are haunted. That's why movie theaters so much are haunted. Older movie theaters.
Yeah.
It's people going in there, or theaters, period, to watch a play or watch a movie. That's where they went. That was a social thing for them. Maybe they went there on a date. They went there with their husband, whatever. They saw a great movie, had a good time, and people are attracted to where they had good times.
Yeah, Willie Atkins, probably about 7 years ago or so, we had already investigated the Egyptian theater. And there's only 3 of those left in the United States. And that they renovated it. And you ought to see this place.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. And I investigated that with Dale when I was with his group. We had a great night there.
Yeah,
Really fun.
theater. I've been in theaters myself, not the Egyptian theaters. I'd never had the pleasure of doing that. But theaters are surprisingly haunted.
Well, I can't not. There's one in Waukegan that was Jack Benny's theater. And why I can't think of that name, but that's the one right in Waukegan. And I just went by there the other day. I think I remember.
Oh,
Blood.
let me ask you a question with this next video.
Okay.
Is this the guy Mikey you were talking about? Can you go ahead and roll that video 004, please? That him?
Yeah. Yep, that's him.
This was at the Bohemian Cemetery at the 100th anniversary of the sinking of the Eastland.
Who else is there?
That's Carl there in the foreground.
Okay.
You remember Carl?
Yep. And that's Dale back there?
Dale wasn't there this time.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I just looked this one up because it does show Mikey. He was asking questions.
Yeah. I just saw him at Christmas.
He just got a response.
I think it's Rosario. Okay. What's his last name?
See, that he actually got an answer
Blows you away every time, don't it?
to his question.
Thank you so much.
And go ahead and take that down, Gwen. He actually asked 2 or 3 questions right there and got answers to each one of them, and you saw his reaction. Just, darn. And Carl said, it just blows you away when you get an answer to your question that's pertinent to the question and immediately after the question.
Right.
And that's, if we crank the volume up on that when you see the video, put some headphones on, and you can actually hear his question and hear the answer he got. And Mikey was just amazed at that. He actually asked the spirits who the captain of the Titanic was. They answered with first and last name.
Oh, wow.
He asked them what year the Titanic sank. They named the year. Of course, the reason the Titanic sinking caused the Eastland sinking, because they had all the new regulations on boats. They had to have enough boats to carry all people on board ships at that time. And the Eastland, the way it was built, you couldn't put the boats on lower decks. So they've added another deck to the Eastland and put the boats high up. And those boats are heavy. They were wood. They weighed a ton, several tons actually, and they were way up high. And the Eastland was built right at regulations, bare minimum regulations as far as width goes. It should have been at least 3 or 4 feet wider than it was built. So it was a narrow ship to start with, and with the boats on top, and you put way overloaded people in it, boom, flipped right over. They're in 12 feet of water in the Chicago River.
You know why they flipped? You heard the story, right?
Huh?
Everybody ran to the one side because they were going to take a picture.
Right. And that with the boats making it rocky like this, the crowd weight just flipped it right. It tilted a few times, it rocked a few times, then finally tilted over. They were trying to go uphill to correct it, and with everybody falling backwards, over she rolled.
God.
And it killed almost the exact same number of people died at the Eastland as died of the Titanic. But there was a difference. Most of the people who died of the Titanic were crew. They did get most of the passengers off. With the Eastland, it was the opposite. It just had a few crew there. So the far majority of the people that died were passengers from Western Electric. That's who had rented the boat for the day. They were going across the lake to a park for a picnic.
Yeah. It
And
was
that
that
video
Westinghouse or what was the name of the company?
Western Electric.
Western Electric.
They're the ones that rented the boat. They'd actually rented 3 ships. The Eastland was the largest. And one person who was late and did not get on the boat was the future owner of the Chicago Bears and creator of the NFL. Had he been there on time and boarded, because he would have gotten boarded in front of most people, he could have been killed. And that would change a lot of history.
Yep.
Had he been killed there.
That's for sure.
And of course, most of those people were the dead bodies were hauled over to the armory right there. Of course, I forget what it is now, because Oprah Winfrey sold that building. It was Harpo Studios.
Yeah.
In the old armory. Oprah would not let anybody investigate in there, but she admitted privately that those studios were very haunted. And there's places in there she would not walk by herself. And we got some amazing evidence. You just saw a little bit of it. Couldn't really hear it because it's hard through StreamYard to really jack up the volume.
Yeah.
But
it's okay.
You actually just saw vocal audio evidence that we got there in Bohemian Cemetery. And that was who we were talking about earlier. For those who were listening earlier in the show, we were talking about Mike Wright. There he was.
So the Bohemian Cemetery is located where?
North side Chicago.
North side where?
I don't remember. This was 11 years ago or so.
Okay, because I grew up on the northwest side.
I think this is. I think it's on the northeast side.
Because I was in Austin.
You can look it up. Bohemian Cemetery up there. You see exactly where it is.
I was one of those little kids, and I was at Our Lady Help of Christians, and that was the year of the Our Lady of the Angels fire. And the kids that survived were brought to our school.
Oh, wow.
So they had kids that were all bandaged up, and there's a lot of stories. There's a lot of stories that go along with that too. Yeah,
Chicago suffered its tragedies.
Yeah, Ursula Bielski had quite a few stories pertaining to that, I think. If I remember correctly.
She unfortunately stopped having her Paracon and then sold her tour business. And Tony Zabisky is now kind of replaced her and Richard Crow as tour guide.
Tony was just at DeKalb.
Was he?
I said hi to him, and that's all I had the time to do at the moment. But he was there. So was Jack. So was Jack Chavez.
Okay.
And there are quite a few other people, like I said, that name wise. Diet was one of these psychic mediums. I can't think of her last name, but she used to be with us when I was with shadow hunters. Long time ago, but there's a lot of other people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Tony, by the time before he retires, he's going to become a legend, not quite equal to, but approaching the legend of Ursula Belsky and Richard Crowe.
Yeah.
Because he is the go-to guide that you want to be with if you want to hear about the ghost of Chicago. He has got stories.
You know Neil Gibbons?
No, I'm not familiar with him.
He's been doing quite a bit of that work too. He works with those guys. He has, I can't think of his paranormal group right now, but he's going to be coming on. I'm going to have him on. He does a lot of ITC work too. If you've been around any of the Chicago Paracons or any of the ones that over the last 4 years, like at Broadhead, he had his big portal machine.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and it's huge. But he looks like he's got a big white Santa Claus beard, and he's a short guy like me. So I mean, he's a great guy too. We actually did an Estes method right there when we were at the Kelb. And he would ask the questions. He told me my mathematics was way off. So he must have been asking some questions. What's 2 and 2? And I must have had a stupid guy in my headphones.
2 and 2 is 5.
17.
That's bad when you have a spirit talking to you that can't do math.
Well, you know, they there's a lot of them that can't do math.
Well, when we're passed away, we'll both probably have issues with math too.
Yeah, afraid so, but that's okay. I forgot more than I can remember,
Yeah.
but that's
I took
okay.
college algebra and I don't remember a damn thing.
No, I did all that trig and everything. And then it's like, what did I do with it?
I never could figure out why they teach algebra in high schools, unless you're in a specialty. Unless you're going to be an engineer or graph drawing where you absolutely need mathematical application. I don't know what good it does.
And I guess they just went ahead and gave you whatever you were good at it, you know?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, have you seen where Generation Z can't read cursive?
I thought, I heard that. My kids, my grandkids, it's the same thing. It's like, what is going on? Of course, I can't write at all anyway because the tremors are so bad that.
Right. I've got arthritis big time in this right finger.
Yeah.
And when I'm working on the house, we're not putting together the nails. We're building with screws.
Oh, so you're driving them.
So yeah, I got an electric drill with a bit in it. But you use both. If it's the longest screw, it's a hex head. The regular screws up to about 2.5. We use a standard Phillips. But I can only pull that trigger, and because you got to put some pressure to drive the screw in, and
Right.
it's murder on my hands. And then I've been staining everything out here. So I got swollen fingers, swollen up wrist.
Yeah.
And it's a mess.
Because I have Parkinson's, and I got that from Agent Orange. So I've been taking a boxing class. and it's good as far as, you know, the your movements, your balance, that kind of thing. And it's been a lot of fun, except I twisted my knee last week,
Ooh.
and man alive, I never had an injury like this in football
Hmm.
or hockey, where it was, but horrible.
I've not haven't been doing any boxing. What I've been doing is a little bit of Tai Chi. And then I'll throw a little bit of Taekwondo movement in it.
I have a female instructor, a lovely lady she's all involved in the high school, and she knows my grandkids, and she's like the one that got Rocky Balboa. Okay, just drive you like a dog. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna throw these punching combinations, and we got these big bags. And she says, okay, we do like four sessions of 30 seconds of constant punches. She calls out the combinations, and you throw it for 30 seconds. You have a 15-second break, and then you start up again. And you do it for all those sessions. And by the time I go to leave there, the sweat is dripping off my nose and my chin.
I bet it is.
And it feels really good. But at the same time, you know, I did enough of that, I thought, when I was younger. But it's not like it's not like the paranormal, you know.
No. I need to get back into that, because I got a feeling that when I see her in New Orleans January 31st, probably on the 30th or the 29th, that Gwen is going to try to whoop my ass.
She may, if you keep on saying things to her like that. And she's a lovely lady. I love her to death. You know, her and Lee both, you know, I wish some things would be different, or that I could do both, but you know, you can only do so much.
Mm-hmm.
So many
I love
shows,
being
so
on this
many
network, because Gwen and Electriana are fantastic people. Lee's husband
Yes.
is also a fantastic guy.
I've never met him yet.
I haven't met any of them face to face yet.
Oh, really? Well, I haven't either. I was supposed to meet Gwen last winter, or the winter I don't know what it was. No, I did meet her. I met her at Broadhead.
Yeah, y'all crossed paths at Broadhead.
Huh?
I think y'all crossed paths at Broadhead.
Yeah, that was the beginning. That would have been a good time to go ahead and become part of it. But it's an awesome network. I have nothing bad to say about it. I think the people that they've got and all the podcasters are great people. That everyone that I've watched, and they get your attention. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yes, we got 20 some odd shows now.
Yeah.
And I only kid Gwen because she's almost like a sister to me.
Yeah.
So I pick on her, and she either laughs or says something bad to me, yeah, like a brother and sister would, and we go about our business.
I always say that I wish I was 30 years younger.
I wish I was 30 years younger, because that way I could get these add-ons to the house built quicker.
Yeah. I feel sorry for you in that way, but you know, you'll get it done.
Yeah, the next project, I've got to move a refrigerator. We're talking about a full size French door refrigerator.
Move it where?
I've got to move it from where it is and put it somewhere else in the kitchen temporarily because
You got to work behind it.
I got to work under it. The floor is sinking, and I don't know what it is causing it, but I've got to move the refrigerator. I got to move our big table, dining table that's sitting there. Got to move it and rip up the floor and see what's going on.
No.
So, unfortunately, the guy who built this house in '85 wasn't much of a carpenter, nothing square.
Oh God.
And I guess he ran out of money when he built the kitchen. The kitchen's an add-on. Our kitchen and bedroom's an add-on. He put proper 3/4 inch flooring in what is our bedroom. He built a 24 by 24 addition on the house and just put a wall down the center of it. One we use as a bedroom. And yeah, we do have a 12-foot by 18-foot bedroom, a 19-foot, and then we have a 12 by 5 walk-in closet. But the kitchen is 12 feet by 24 feet. And I guess he ran out of money. Would you believe that he put 3 8-inch plywood for the floor in the kitchen?
What?
Yes.
How did that pass?
Pass what?
Code. Oh, you don't have no code down there.
This is a county.
Oh,
There's almost no county government. There's a bunch of people that are not elected that run things. You got the county courthouse where you go down and register your title, you pay your taxes, and the judges are there. The sheriff's office is there. That's where you pay for the garbage fee. But that's about it. They really don't have a house inspector.
you can't go ahead and get a couple young guys and buy them a case of beer or something and get them to move that refrigerator for you?
I've thought about that. I have a young guy in mind. He's working a lot right now.
You got to have two of them.
He had two kids of his own. He's living with a woman now they had 3 kids. So you know what it is with 5 children in the room.
Yeah.
And plus he's paying for a car. So basically I say, okay, there's not a case of beer, but I'll give you $25-$30. You'll come over here for 30-40 minutes.
Yeah.
And help me move this. Me and the guy who's helping me add on to the house, between the 3 of us, we should be able to move that refrigerator, even though it's uphill. It's on wheels, so it will roll. But the trouble is, it's already sunk. The floor is already sunk, and we got to roll it uphill, which is going to be the issue.
Oh man, I feel sorry for you.
Yeah, and we got to pull all that up, and then we're going to have a big hole in the kitchen floor for a couple of days.
Oh God!
We can't buy anything in advance because we don't know what's wrong.
If you got a hole there, you better go ahead and be on guard duty with a 12 gauge.
Oh yeah, I got a nice 12 gauge pump.
Yeah, in case something tries to go ahead and crawl up through there.
Yeah, we might have that issue. Might sit there with also my pistol with some rat shot in case it's a snake. Hey, you hate to shoot a 5-foot long snake or even a 3-foot long snake with a shotgun.
Yeah, well, if you have to, you do.
Yeah.
God.
But a snake when I'm within 10 or 15 feet of it, I can hit him in the head with a pistol.
It's a different life down there, I guess.
Yes, it is. Hey, I don't have a permit for the add-ons.
Oh man.
They check your property once every few years.
What, for
and
taxes?
Just after we bought this place, they had a guy come by. He come up with a question mark on his face. He said, "Where's the trailer?" I said, "What trailer?" The people who built the house, they rented a trailer out across the property. across the front of the property, and we're renting that out. And he was wondering where the trailer was. I said, I guess when they had the property foreclosed on, they took the trailer with them. I don't know. I didn't know anything about a trailer. You're the first one that's ever asked me about it. Because this house was in foreclosure for 2 years. So what's happened, he got a loan on the 24 by 24 section. And you know how loan companies are.
Yeah.
You got to have insurance. You can't have insurance on your house here because we are about now, when we bought the place, we were about 2.5, 3 miles from the nearest fire hydrant. And now we're only about 1.5 miles, but you got to have a fire hydrant within a 1/4 mile. And now that new fire hydrant, all sitting there nice and pretty. Just a recent install. I think they started late last year. Just probably less than a year old now. It's all nice, shining red. But we still can't get insurance on the house because we are still over 1 mile away from that fire hydrant.
That's nuts.
Well, that's what happens when you live in the woods. And remember, I have no sewer here. We got to use septic tanks.
Okay. I have septic. I have a wall.
Hmm.
I rather have that. And I've got Lake Superior water.
We have city water, deep well water. They
Yeah.
hardly ever treat it. It's almost like bottled water out of our tap.
Yeah.
Because it's
Good
a
water.
really deep well they used. I did that when they built the city back in the city was incorporated in 1874, I believe.
1874.
Mm-hmm. So it's not that old a city.
Post Civil War.
Yes.
By 9 years.
Mm-hmm. And it was built here because it's kind of the center of a new county, and the fact that there was an old, even older than the city, was an old horse stop on the road going from Pine Bluff to Monticello, which were both much older cities. These were way pre-Civil War. And what they did, they split the difference. You know, Star City, the horse thing was about halfway. And you know yourself that a horse at a trot at most is good for 25 to 30 miles, depending on the horse. And that's all you're going to get.
Yeah.
At a normal horse, just kind of trotting pace in a day. So what they did, they put that a place where you could spend the night on the ground if you wanted to, and they put your horse up for a small fee, and then you get up in the morning, get back on your horse, and you could go either Monticello or back to Pine Bluff, you know, wherever you were going. It was just a horse stop. And that building was there, so they came over a few feet where they could drill down and hit deep well water, underground water, and they built a town around that. Built a town around the well. But the Star City is located almost exactly halfway between Monticello and Pine Bluff, Arkansas.
Holy crap.
And there was a raging Civil War battle here. They left their headquarters, which is the MacArthur Military Museum in Little Rock. It's where the Union set up their capital. The Confederacy set up the capital of Arkansas in Camden, which is almost directly to the west of here. And they sent people down trying to do the whole state, drive the Confederacy completely out of the state of Arkansas. And they basically had a running battle trying to get the capital, Camden. And the Confederacy countered by attacking their supply lines, of course. Why fight a superior force? You can attack their supply lines and knock their supply lines out. Also, the Union Army was raiding the homes in southern Arkansas and running people out of their homes and stripping the houses of anything valuable. And then the Confederacy countered equal cruelty by taking everything, all the supplies, and either using them or burning them, what they couldn't carry, and the fact that the Union Army was partially made out of freed blacks from the North.
Yeah.
And the Confederacy policy was they don't take black Union Army folks prisoner. They would if they surrendered, they put them off to the side where nobody could see, and they just execute them.
Dispatch them.
That happened. There was several attacks. The Union Army's caught up against a creek, and they had to use, if you remember, you did some time in the military, the Bailey Bridge. That's the British claim it, but it comes from India. And the Union Army actually was when they sent their armies to the South, they actually carried some of the early versions of the Bailey Bridge with them.
Oh, wow.
So the Union Army, they had to throw an early version of the Bailey Bridge, which a lot of people know from the World War II,
Right.
I think Market Garden.
Yep.
Because they had to build a Bailey Bridge to continue that attack after the Germans destroyed the bridge, but right in front of U.S. soldiers. But they had an early version of the Bailey Bridge and put it across this large creek, very small river, and crossed it. And the Confederates, the commander was a dumbass, excuse my French, and he did not attack them until they had the Bailey Bridge almost completed and were running across the bridge. And then they just destroyed across the Bailey Bridge. Is not, especially back in the Civil War, were rather fragile anyway, and they just quickly destroyed it. And the Confederate, the little river was flooded, and the Confederate Army couldn't pursue them across because they did not have a Bailey Bridge. There was people killed there. There's a whole running battle, and eventually the Union kind of started losing the battle in the South and went back, and they fled. Some of them fled all the way back to Little Rock. Others split off and fled to Pine Bluff. So yeah, there was a running Civil War battle over a couple months right here in the neighborhood.
Our lovely lady's going to say, I think we're running out of time.
It's like a few seconds before 2 hours. We need to.
Yeah.
We need to wrap it up. See how mean she is to me?
Say hello to Lee for me, and Nate, and
everybody.
Rez, and everybody else, too.
I will.
I would appreciate it.
Yeah, and soon we're going to try again to be on his show because the last time we tried, the gremlins were crazy. So yeah.
No, I got a new computer, so I'm fine and dandy now. And it was the 24th of April.
Okay, I think that's good. If she cannot, I'm pretty positive I can. So
okay. Either way,
we try.
You know,
yes, guys, it's been 2 hours, and I love you to death, but I got to get up in the morning.
Okay.
So
appreciate it.
Greg, I appreciate you coming on the show. It's been fun as always.
Well, thank you very much.
We usually get involved in a great big, conversation, and we did that tonight. We talked about all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. Keep the paranormal alive, my friend.
I intend to.
Okay.
Well, you saw that short video of that small cemetery. That was actually a cemetery by the local prison.
Oh, good.
It's actually in a county park close to the prison. It's just two families buried in there, and the two families were intermarried. Is why just two families.
Well, I want to thank you for having me on. It's been a lovely time, and we will get together down the road here probably in June and I'll have you on my show.
All right.
Okay. It's been
Greg,
awesome, Lenny.
Greg, you take care. It's always awesome to be with you on the show. Thank you
Okay.
for being here.
Okay. We'll see you
take
guys
care
all
of
later.
yourself.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And Gwen, before we end the show, let's go ahead and can we show that New Orleans video one more time?
Oh.
This is Dad. I love this music.
Okay.
Adios. But, we'll see you, Greg.
Okay. Bye-bye.
All right, Gwen. Just say the paranormal never sleeps, and go ahead and since I do have my closing video down there, go ahead and play that purple video. Good night, everybody.